Welcome to the Celebration of You. I'm your host, Holly Dowling. I'm thrilled to share with you incredible people from all over the world who are living and leading extraordinary lives. From overcoming immense adversity to discovering the secret sauce to leading with courage and grace. Their stories are going to bring you hope and inspiration. Now, let the stories begin. Oh, what a beautiful day and what a glorious example of what I believe this universe is about. That is why I'm starting off today's podcast and this interview completely elated and overjoyed at the gift of the person I get to celebrate today. And for all of you that are listening, you're in for an amazing treat. Sit back and get ready to listen to not only a voice that is going to carry you with such strength and grace, but she is somebody that's changing lives around the world. And she has taken the time, and we're on completely different time zones, because the amazing Chana Marcus lives and thrives in Israel and has a story to share that's going to give you more hope than probably many people have in a long time. So Chana, thank you for sharing your gift of your spirit with me today.
Thank you, Holly. It's such an honor, as always, to connect with you.
Oh, it's likewise, my friend. And I'm excited to celebrate you and what you're doing now, but also sharing, kind of what drove that. So why don't we just take a moment, and I'd love for you to celebrate, share with us what you're passionate about and what you're doing right now on the other side of the world, changing lives.
Sounds great. I want to start with tuning into our wombs. If we can start with just closing our eyes and tuning in, and then speaking and listening from that space. So I'm putting my hand on my lower belly right now, and just breathing and grounding into my body. And aligning inside of myself and asking that the words come from that space and go to that space in everyone, in our most inner space. So, hi.
I love that start.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm a coach. I'm a power coach for women. And I'm all about living from our deepest inner spaces. I find that a lot of us nowadays end up with having everything on the outside, so to speak, on whatever level, whether financially or socially or physically, and sometimes find within that there's an emptiness inside that's gnawing, and it doesn't quite have loud words, but has a still small voice. And that's the voice that I'm always working on tuning into myself and helping my clients tune into, so that they can really find fullness on the inside and in the outside as they go through their lives. So empowering ourselves from really deep within our body and in our being, and living from that space, which of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is what I fell in love with the moment I met you, was that very, very, when I just said grace and strength, you have given people permission and given people tools, Chana, to be able to do exactly what you just shared. And that's powerful, really powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there is one of the magnificent things that I think really touched me in the time we've spent, and we've been blessed to get to meet at an event. I think it was an event that I was speaking at back in Arizona, and that's how we met. Mm-hmm. And this goes back to last year. Yeah. And you were beginning to literally birth your new business. And we're going to tell everybody how to connect with you when we wrap up. But I think the story that really impacted me is to know that, and this is what I want the listeners to really understand and hopefully walk away with, is that what Chana's been able to do with her life is she has been able to step into a space that continues to use her soul at the highest place. And there's no excuses. So here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Not only is she pursuing her passion and serving our world and doing what she does, but she's also a mother of 4, correct?
Correct.
Yes, mother of 4. And why don't you share with all of us, and choosing to take your family and leave Florida and move to Israel. And on top of that, you are now about to finish. Elaborate on your education that you're about to just wrap up again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a no bounds kind of person. So I'm currently doing a double master's at 2 different universities. They're both in the field of psychology, and I like to call them the 2 sides of the brain. One is in business psychology and the other is in dance movement therapy. So very analytical side, and then the very like healer art side. That's before I do my PhD, which is next.
Of course it is.
Of course. And yeah, I'm building my business, which is Birthing You, as well as working for an international business consulting company. I was just in South Korea actually a couple of weeks ago. I didn't tell you about that, Holly, on a business consulting trip.
Oh, wow.
And I am also practicing as a therapist here in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And yeah, and parenting, obviously.
And as you put it,
Yeah.
and as you put it earlier, I'm like, how are the kids? You go, they're teenaging. Yep. Teenaging. I love that. That's now a new verb. They're teenaging. You know what that looks
most
like.
Definitely. Yeah, we had a very big accomplishment a few weeks ago when my son grew his first underarm hair. Showed all of us. He was very excited about it.
These are the moments, though. And any parent out there listening is going to chuckle and laugh, because we all know these are those moments that are like monumental, right? In the teenaging.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Well, and I think that's not to be taken lightly, though, my friend. And that's what makes this so special, is that to meet you and to know that you are continuing to, one of my dreams and missions is to celebrate people that are doing extraordinary things and doing it with a higher purpose. And that's what you're doing. And there's no excuse, right? It's like some people think, well, I can't do this till after I raise my children, or I can't go finish my college degree till I've finished doing this, right? There's always that we put parameters and boundaries on ourselves that I think can be quite limiting. And what you have done is I believe, bring this world. It's like you're a butterfly that's saying you're never stuck in a cocoon. You can continue to the birthing of you. You can continue to find ways to fulfill your passions, and everyone wins. I think you're a better mother. You're a better coach to your clients when you are fulfilling who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Chana, I know there's a story behind the story. I mean, I don't know it, but I know that you didn't just get to this place by any means of it being given to you on a silver platter. There's something that drove you, whether that goes back to maybe when you were a younger girl, maybe a younger woman, maybe there was a time, a pivotal moment in your life that really said, this is it. I am going to put the stake in the ground and I'm going to start moving forward in a different direction. I'd love to know, and I know the listeners, I'd love for them to hear, what's the story behind the story that keeps you going?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I used to live in Florida before I lived in Israel. And when I lived in Florida, I was in Boca Raton, a Boca Babe, as they're called, as we're called, and living that whole life, which is very glamorous and luxurious and comfortable, and can also feel very superficial. And I had reached to the point that I had in mind of the American dream, so to speak. I had worked through my stuff inside, done a lot of personal growth. I had lost the weight. I was blonde. I had a gorgeous home and car and education and partner, and kind of reached the peak of like what I had in mind for myself. And I felt empty inside. And I didn't want to hear that voice at first because it's not comfortable. And what do you even do with that voice? And so I would just go for long drives by the beach and kind of always be searching to find what it was that I was empty of, because on the outside, it didn't really seem like I was empty of anything. I was very blessed and privileged. And the voice just got stronger until I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I broke off the relationship that I was in, which had also other issues with it. And it was more of a surface relationship. It wasn't really feeding my soul. And all of a sudden, I had this big openness in front of me of, oh my God, now what? Now your life is open. Now what are you going to do with yourself? Are you going to stay here? Are you going to do something else? And it was a really intense soul-searching time period. And ultimately, my inner voice bubbled up inside of me through all of the angst and said very clearly, you need to move to Israel. Mm. And I listened because I really deeply trust my inner voice. And that's something that I work with women on, is really trusting our inner voice, even when it doesn't line up logically. And it didn't really line up logically because I had a whole life there and I didn't know anyone in Israel. I didn't know the language. I had no clue exactly what I was going to do in Israel. But I knew that if I waited, I would chicken out and I wouldn't do the move. So I literally made the decision, packed up my apartment, and 2 days later was on the plane.
Wow.
And came to Israel and figured it out once I got here, which was, a challenging process because coming to a new country, learning a new language, everything was new. But I figured it out, and now I'm here. And I'm not suggesting that everyone do dramatic moves like that. In fact, most of my clients don't. Usually it's smaller shifts that just tuning into our inner voice that really make all the difference. But for me, that was a real leap of faith and trusting in my inner voice and just taking a stand, as you said, to live from that space, even if what it was telling me sounded really scary or really crazy, and just following through with it. And then I was able to develop a really beautiful life, as you said, like from the inside and out, living a life that feels very purposeful to me and very meaningful, and that also is very successful, on the outside, and very full of all these different things that I'm doing and bringing to the world.
Oh, this is truly, and I'm listening to you and I'm just elated right now. And I totally agree. Not everybody, for many people, making that big shift is moving from one city in Florida to another city in Florida, right? It's like, okay, I can pack up my stuff and I can move, 20 miles away or on the other side of the state. But to truly, this is what makes this so magnificent, is that you truly, really listened to your inner voice. And all the fear and all the chatter that could have prevented you and blocked you and limited you from making this leap of faith, you had to find somewhere within you, Chana, there was that resilience, that strength that goes very deep that didn't prevent you from listening. You know where I'm going? Like so many of us, we hear that voice, but we see all the reasons why we shouldn't listen to it, or all the reasons why we could end up falling on our knees and failing. And you didn't. You held so true to that. And I'd love to know, just for anyone listening, if they're having that inner voice or that yearning or whatever's happening in their world, what could you share as, for you personally, what do you think kept you so honoring of that and didn't let you, or maybe you did almost fall back into the traps of fear and the limiting voices, but what got you over the hump? Anything specifically?
Yeah, well, this specifically is what I work with my clients on, because when we hear our inner voice, we usually do feel fear as well. And the goal is definitely not to block out the fear, but rather to hold space for it and be courageous anyways, and follow our inner voice anyways. So in every situation, it's going to be different. And you're right. In general, I don't think most people are called to do as dramatic changes. It's usually smaller things that are also scary. And the more that we can really hear that voice and learn to trust it, then the more we can take action on it. I think a lot of the battle is just learning to hear it, because oftentimes it's niggling and it's quiet and we just block it out with busyness or with whatever it is that we're engaged in our daily life. So a lot of the work that I do is first even just learning to hear it and respect it, and then find ways that you can do it that are okay for you, meaning it doesn't have to be a huge step. Generally, in personal growth, the best way is to take baby steps, actually, because that's the most sustainable. Mm-hmm. So in every story, it would be different, what people are feeling called to. But the first step is to learn how to hear that. And generally, the best way to learn how to hear it is to learn how to get quiet enough, because it's a still small voice that comes up. And so I have practices, with meditation and journaling and
Love that. And the meditation and journaling that's very
association and ways that it can just come up through the other blocks that we have.
Yes. And I don't want anyone to miss two things you just said, meditation and journaling. I think you hit on something, Chana, that's really, it's actually, I believe, becoming a toxic disease for, it doesn't matter where you live in this world, but it's the busyness and the noise. I like to refer to it as the clutter in our life. and all of the chaos, and it comes at us in every direction, right? It's not just on the computer, it's in every aspect of social media coming at us. It's this propensity, I think, that we have fallen into as human beings, that we feel this need to fill our life with noise. And whatever that's supposed to equate to, right? Whether that's supposed to equate to productivity, I don't know. But I have found, and I'm just reaffirming what I'm listening to you share, is that the greatest gifts of wisdom and knowledge come from not shoving it in from out sources. It's coming from getting quiet, truly getting present and quiet and still, and letting the wisdom, the thoughts come and the voice come through you. And
absolutely. And we all have that voice inside of us. That's the secret. A lot of people think you have to go somewhere else and have someone else tell you what to do with. In my coaching, I don't ever tell people what to do. I help them learn how to hear themselves. And once they can have that, I mean, once you have that in your back pocket, you can go through any situation in life, any journey, and be able to tune in and get clarity and hear your inner voice, and then know what to do in a way that like most aligns with you. That's really powerful.
It's incredibly powerful. And I love that you have chosen to make your mission in life to help empower people to do this, because I think there's we're hearing about it. Everybody knows the noise that's impacting us, but we need tools, and we do need help to figure out, what's a great meditation? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Personally, for me, the most important part of my day is the morning. No one gets that. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. If I'm in a hotel room, that is the most important centering part of my day. And it's pure silence. And it is my time, my prayer time, my meditation. And for you to help people get that, I found it to be, your voice that really took you across the world and helped you step out of a place that most people, let's face it, Chana, you went from, this is why your story is so magnificent, is it sure looked good. Great life. It's what we all, right? It looked good. It smelled good. It tastes good, because it's everything we want, right? The nice car, living in a great place, it's the material of what we all think we aspire to have. And I personally have been there too. I know what it's like to have it all, and I know what it's like to lose it all. And my greatest joy in life has been learning that all of that stuff can come, it can go. But if you're not true to who you are, you're miserable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I just love that and it doesn't mean that we want people to think that after they listen to this, they're going to pack up and move halfway across the world and leave everything behind. But I do think it exemplifies that when you do take the time to say, pause and go, what is my life about? What is that voice that I'm hearing, and that yearning, that nudge, that spiritual yearning that's pulling at your heart? Because for everyone it's different. But Chana is here, and she's, even though like right now, it seems as though you're just, we gave each other a virtual hug before we started the recording. And that's what's beautiful about the access we have to all of this amazing technology today, is that you're sitting in Israel, I'm in Arizona, and we feel like we're just still so completely connected right now. And for anyone listening, I would love for them to know that you can reach out to Chana. Actually, Chana, this would be a good time. Why don't you share with people, because I want them to go see your website. I still think it's one of the most amazing websites that exists I've ever seen. So tell them how to reach out to you if they want to know more.
Thank you. Yes, please reach out to me. My website is www.birthingyou. So spelled out, birthingyou.com. And if you visit me on there, you can book a free discovery call, can talk and get to know each other, and connect, share resources, share tools, share empowerment.
Love it. Oh, I share all of that. And you will hear, she's all the way over there. No matter where you're calling, you will feel like you're sitting on the couch with Chana, just like we are right now. And Chana, I'm having a moment. Do you remember, it's all coming to me, when we met at that event way back, I think that was last fall. And all of a sudden, I'm so vividly remembering, I can remember where you were sitting in that ballroom, in that big, in that event. And I was on stage, and you shared, I think we were doing something. I was asking people to share what their goals are, what they visioned. And you shared this business that you're going to start. And Do you remember this? And I physically remember looking at you from where I was standing up on the stage, and I said, I'm going to commit to you that I want to be there when you do this business, and I'm going to help celebrate you. Do you remember this?
I do remember it. It was very powerful.
And we're doing it right now. It just occurred to me.
It's amazing. It's birth.
It is. And
birth happens on so many levels.
I'm just loving this moment right now. And I love, well, I would love to, in just as we wrap this up, and thank you for being willing to share, kind of from the heart, what this journey has been about for you. But what words of wisdom, what lesson learned, what's one nugget you'd love to share with people before we wrap this up, Chana?
You are way more than you think you are. You can be way more than you think you are. You are inside of you way more than you think you are. And we're not limited as beings. We have a lot of power inside of us. The more that we give ourselves the safety to live in it and bring it out, the more we can bring to the world and to ourselves and have really meaningful lives. And it is possible, no matter how old you are, no matter what situation you're in. And for everyone, it looks different. And that's what's special and unique. But it's in everyone, that incredible power that we have to bring. And that's what I stand for.
Well, I think you just left us with the most empowering inspiration that wherever you are, when we end this and you have finished listening to this, I would encourage every person to just take 5 minutes or 10 and pause and shut your door, close everything off, and do exactly what Chana did with us at the beginning. Just close your eyes, put your hands on your stomach or somewhere that's sacred to you, even on your heart, and just take a moment of silence and just breathe in and begin practicing listening, shutting out the noise, and listening to your voice from within.
And don't get scared if a lot of crazy monkey voices come up, because that's usually what happens when we first do it. And that's okay. There's tools to work with that. So if you don't have a serene experience of angels singing, that's so human.
Oh, wait. So the monkey voices are still for real too, right?
They're so for real, and they're so okay. It's so okay.
Oh, that was awesome. It's like, so don't worry, this too shall pass and the monkeys will be gone someday.
Yes. Or we'll just learn how to tame them.
Oh, that is marvelous. Well, I just want to thank you again. Thank you for being with me today, Chana. Thank you for sharing your spirit and your passion with the world. You are appreciated, my friend.
Thank you, Holly. Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another awesome celebration of you. If you were inspired by this story, please share it with your family and friends and hashtag Your Story Matters. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on iTunes. And absolutely, please come to my website, hollydowling.com. Leave a comment there too, and while you're there, pick up your free gift. Most importantly, though, just remember that your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift back.